Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the November edition of the Plane Talk. I want to thank you guys for being part of Graves Golf, and thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully a lot of you guys got to register for this, and we're going to have a couple giveaways tonight. So we're going to have a lock and roll putter giveaway, and I think we have a 3-day school giveaway, and my staff will tell me here in a second. So I'll know we'll get into that tonight, but hopefully, thank you guys for registering for that. And obviously everybody who's registered for this gets, is involved or is eligible for the giveaway. So we'll do that towards the end of tonight. All right. Basically tonight, what we're going to do is, about every 3 to 4 months, we like to have a Q&A. Questions you guys have submitted over the last few days, last couple of weeks. So we'll have we'll go over there, and these questions kind of come in at random. We kind of put something together. So your question may have made it, may not have made it. Sometimes we get a lot of questions that are kind of similar. We kind of put them together as one big question for us, and we'll go through those. Hopefully I can get through, 10, 15, maybe up to 20 questions tonight. So let's get into tonight's Q&A. But before I get into that, I want to make one note of this, and there's going to be a link that you guys can hit. It should be a link that's on the bottom third of this, or the link below this webinar. And there will also be a link that you guys will get if you see the replay of this. There'll be a link on there. But here's 2 things you guys need to do over this winter. Number 1, and I already talked about 1, make sure you're updating that club fitting. Make sure that's on file with us. That gives us a lot of information besides club fitting, okay? And the second one is fill out the STEPS questionnaire. What is your next step? Because right now, I've got thousands of people watching this webinar at home. I know I do. We always know how many people are logged in, how many register. There's literally thousands, okay? And I promise you right now, every single one of you guys is a different step with us. Some of you guys may have started on your single plane journey yesterday. Some of you guys may be 20 years into this. Some of you guys may have started 5 years ago and didn't do anything for the past 3 years. And you're back into it now. Whatever it is, okay? Everybody at home's different. And some of you guys maybe don't have one of our training aids. Some of you guys may have all of our training aids. Some of you guys may have been to 10 schools. Some of you guys may have never been to a school, okay? Whatever it is, okay? What step are you at? Because guys, there's a very specific line of steps that we can help you guys through that will not only get you better, but will rapidly improve your game. Okay. I have close to 20 coaches that are full-time members, coaches. Okay. Some are here local, some are abroad, that literally are set up to help you guys get better at the game of golf through the single plane training. Okay. That's what they're all about. But here's what happens. If they don't know what step you're on right now or where you are right now, they can't help you get the next step. And then if they know what step you're on, not only can they help you get to the next step, they can rapidly accelerate you to getting better. And guys, and the reason I bring that up, because I wasn't really going to talk about that, is it was impressive when I'm watching my son and I'm watching him film these testimonies at the school. And I'm watching these golfers out there, and you guys will see these, trust me. They'll start producing these. You'll start seeing them on Facebook. You'll start seeing them all over the place, okay? They're walking, talking, advertising for Graves Golf. There's guys and gals, it ranged in age from 40 years old up to 90 years old, okay? The testimonials all across the board. People that had played golf for 1 year, people played golf their whole lives, okay? People that have been with us for a week or two, people have been with us for months and years, okay? And basically, it was interesting because the one thing I noticed on that the testimonials that were talking about how people that were cutting their handicaps in half, the people that were shooting their age, people that were winning their club championships, we had people who were playing in the U.S. amateur or USGA amateur events and actually winning local events in that. We have people that are playing in the U.S. amateur tour and winning events in that. You guys will see in your testimonials, okay? But the one thing that was common between all these people that were testimonials was the communications they have with my staff, with my coaches. That's what it was. There's no doubt. I kept thinking, okay, does this person have these training aids? Does this person have been to these schools? This person, and I'm listing all these different things, and some had been to some and some hadn't. Some had all the training aids, some had just a couple. Some had been to all the schools, some had just been to a couple schools, whatever. I kept thinking, what's the common theme? Well, the common theme was they had constant communication or continual communication with our coaches. That was the theme. There's no doubt. And you guys will see it. Don't believe me. You'll see it when you start seeing these testimonials come out. Okay? They had constant communication. I'm not talking about every day. I'm talking about they communicated with our coaches, with my coaches, with Todd's coaches, with our coaches, and said, okay, what do I need to do next? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Okay? What do I need to do to take my game to the next level? Help me set up my goals. Okay, now let's break down those goals. How can I get to the next level? That's what it was. It was communication with professional coaches that teach the single plane swing model, okay, and going to help you progress from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 to step 5 and absolutely rapidly improve you as fast as you want to go, as fast as you're willing to go. And guys, to start that, okay, if you're interested in this, if you're interested in starting starting that, there's a free questionnaire. If you go, and it's so important that it's actually on the homepage of my website. If you go to gravesgolf.com and you go down and right in the middle of the website, the homepage of the website, it says, here's the steps questionnaire. Click on that link, okay, or click on the link below, click on it, go to the middle of that page, and you'll see there's, I think, 8 questions that just ask you, it talks about body issues. It talks about, do you have arthritis? Do you not? Is there body issues? What type of training have you done before? How long have you been playing golf? It just has golf questions. You fill those out, you submit it. It'll go to one of my coaches. My coach, you'll get an automatic response. My coach will say, hey, here's the step you're on. Here's what we recommend you doing next. Here's the next thing you probably should do. Okay. Some guy, literally, if you haven't done anything, they're going to say, here's a DVD you should go look at. Here's a video you should go look at. Go watch this video and that video. They're going to tell you to do that. If you've already watched some videos, they're going to say, hey, maybe you want to try that training. Maybe you want to try this. Maybe they'll just talk to you about your game in general. But let us help you take that next step. That's what it's all about. We literally did this to help you take that next step. And then we can start flying through this. But again, guys, you start watching these testimonials. I'm not going to put them up here tonight. I won't take that time. But you start watching these, you start seeing them come out and everything, realize the common theme between all these people, they're talking about their improvement. These guys, these ladies, these guys. We had a guy who was 75 years of age who said he shot his age for the first time, and literally 6 months ago, he couldn't break 100. Okay. So he's shooting in the low 70s right now. 6 months ago, he couldn't break 100. Okay. And he's on there saying what did he say? He talked about his 2 things, talking to Scott Renfro, Shane Madsen, and Trent White. Those are 3 of my coaches. And he mentioned them about 20 times. Okay. That's what they talked about. And talking how these guys are helping take the next step. Shane's helping them. Okay. Here's what you want to go look at, the video you want to look at. Here's the next thing you want to look at. Trent's getting video submitted from him. Here's the weaknesses in your swing. But anyway, so guys, let my coaches help you. If you're already a member of our academy, you got access to it every single day. If you're not, coaches can still contact you. You don't have to be a member to talk to a coach on the phone. Okay. Fill out the steps questionnaire. A coach will contact you and help you through your next steps. Okay. All right. So guys, get on that. And please let my coaches help you. If you have not communicated with our coaches, if you haven't done with it routinely, that's what they're there for, okay? That's what they're there for. All right, so let's get into tonight's questions. Like I told you, I wouldn't take a whole lot of time going into that, but I really wanted to cover that for a couple minutes because just that common theme we're seeing, and we see it more and more and more. All right, so these questions will be coming out. They're kind of at random. We kind of threw them up here as they came in, so we'll probably jump around a little bit. But here we go, first question. Okay, I'm on the fence to purchase a lock and roll putter. What are the perks versus a traditional putter? Peter B. Okay. First of all, Peter, number one is, I'll just pull up the lock and roll now. This sounds like a sale question, but it's okay. But here's the deal. The traditional putters we had that we sold for years and years and years, the Odyssey putters, the triple track putters, they are great putters. Don't never think they're not great putters. They are fantastic putters, okay? But the reason we did the lock and roll, I'm going to just cover this for a couple seconds here because you guys can watch the training, is number one, is when you lock the lock and roll putter into the lead arm, it prevents the casting and flipping that 90% of golfers do. In fact, the students that we're at this tournament, I brought up a gentleman who had a traditional putter in his hand. It was a really nice putter. It was a TaylorMade Spider putter. And he came up and I did a demo of the lock and roll during our single plane showdown. I did a demo. And I brought him up in front of everybody. And I'm going to walk off the screen here real quick. And I'm going to grab this. Okay. And he had a traditional putter in his hand. And it was great. And he said, and he was talking the same question. And I brought him up. I said, here's what I want you to do. Take that traditional putter. And I told him, I said, take a stroke and hold that angle. Don't let the club flip. Okay, so take that stroke and hold that angle. Okay, so in front of everybody that was at the, in the single plane showdown, he's in front of like 40 or 50 people at that time. He took his putter out, his traditional putter, he took it out, and he flipped and cast the putter. I knew he would. Guys, 90% of golfers do. Okay, he cast it. So, and everybody that was watching, oh, you flipped it, you cast it. Well, not a big deal. We were having fun doing it. And then I said, okay, here's the deal. And he goes, well, I'll do it again. I won't flip it or cast it this time. He said that. And I said, okay, here's the deal. I said, and I told him this, I said, I will bet you $1 million, and I did it in front of everybody, that you'll cast this putter again. You'll flip it. And he's like, $1 million? I said, yeah. I said, in fact, I can't bet you enough. I'll bet you $1 million. If you keep this down the line, and I've got all these witnesses here, I will give you $1 million right now. And everybody got real quiet. It's like, you got to be kidding me. And I said, no. And they're like going, okay, well, he probably should be able to do it then. Well, here's what I did. I even put more pressure on him. Okay. When I told him that, it put more pressure on him. Just like if he got over a putt that mattered, he had pressure on himself now. So he got up over the putt. He sat up over it. He took his putter. He hit a putt and he flipped it worse. He literally went and he cast it worse. And everybody there went, oh my God, you flipped it worse than when Tim just bet you. And we all kind of laughed and giggled about it. But guys, it's just a reaction that most people have. And when you cast or flip a putter, it closes the face, it de-lofts, it adds loft to the putter, so the ball will bounce off the line. It'll usually get pulled off the line, and you got all kinds of issues, okay? Well, the second you put a lock and roll putter in your hand, and I did this with him. I took him and I said it, put it, and I said, now, set up over this lock and roll putter. I said, put it into your forearm. Now, take a stroke holding this angle in your forearm. He took a stroke. And it was perfect. And I looked at everybody and I said, that's probably the first time he's never cast a putter in his life. And everybody sat there and goes, yep. Because like 3/4 of the students in the school or in the tournament already had the lock and roll putter, so they already knew. But he literally sat there and goes, whew, and I go, there you go. That's hands leading down, hands down the line, hip check, perfect, because you locked it in your arm. This is probably the first time in history you've never flipped your putter. Okay? That's why. So answer that question. It's because the majority of golfers, a high majority, will cast or flip a putter. And when you cast or flip a putter, which is the scoring club in your bag, you'll pull the putt, it'll come offline, you'll miss short putts, you'll lose confidence, the whole jazz, okay? When you put the lock and roll, it keeps shafting in the putter, it stays locked in your arm, it keeps you from casting it, okay? That's the reason. All right, let's go to the next question. All right. Oh, another one. Trying to love my lock and roll putter, but the wrist lock shaft does not sit flush against my lead arm wrist arm. There's a gap between the grip and my wrist unless I place the ball way forward past my front foot when set up. It is no longer below my eye at the point. I'm lead hand low. Do I have the putter set up correctly, Jay? Well, Jay, I mean, first of all, go to the lock and roll training we have on the website. You go under where it says clubs and go down there. There's a couple places that have lock and roll training. But here's the deal. The lock and roll putter is set to do this. If you set it up, you set the face of the putter down, okay? And you say there's a box in the bottom of the putter. All the lock and rolls have a box in the bottom. You'll see it. You can look down and see a square section in the front, okay? If you set that putter down on the ground, okay, and in that box, there's now shaft lean in this putter. For the arm lock version, there's 13 degrees shaft lean. For the wrist lock version, there's 6.5 degrees shaft lean, okay? So now you set that down. Now, you should be able to just set up right now, put your arm on this club, and then grip it in that position. It should lock perfectly, okay? In fact, I can move that ball a little bit back. I can move that ball a little bit forward. It grips it perfectly, okay? Without any problem at all. Now, notice, I just went with lead hand low. I can go trail hand low and do the same thing. So let's say I do it the other way. So I set up right now. I put the putter down. Okay, and I got the trail hand on there first. I can keep it low, and it'll still lock into that arm, okay, without any problem at all. In a very good position. The key is on this is getting that box of the putter set on the ground. If you lean the putter back, if you get too much loft, yeah, I mean, if I lean this putter back in a bad position, it's hard to get that shaft going forward. But notice, there is built-in shaft lean in this putter. I mean, on the shorter version, which is the wrist lock, there's 6.5 degrees shaft lean. On the longer one, which is the arm lock, there's 13 degrees shaft lean, okay? So there's built-in shaft lean. But that shaft lean is based on setting that putter on the front edge of that putter. If you set that front edge of that putter, that box down on the ground, that's how the shaft lean occurs. If you get that off the ground, so we get the back end leaning down, yeah, you might have difficulty getting that lead arm, but that's not how the putter is built. So make sure it's on the front of that box, it's set down square. Now, set that putter down like you're going to putt it. Perfect. Now, set yourself into that putter. Go to our lock and roll training on there. It talks about that a lot, and there's a lot more videos about that, okay? Let's go to the next question. Okay. What are your thoughts on getting some updated irons and how often? I presume Paradigm are the way to go. Todd and most of your staff are playing them rather than the Rogue or the Apex. Matt D. Yeah, in fact, Matt, you were at the tournament and you asked me this, and there's the question. So here's the deal. And I just did a club chat on this. They say for irons, it's every 2 to 3 years where that technology really starts changing, okay? Where it becomes easier to hit the iron, maybe your irons get a little bit worn out. The technology changes every 2 to 3 years. The biggest thing we do with Graves Golf, though, and I'm just going to throw this out, is that if you update every year, the trade-in value is so high in the previous year's clubs that I can get you in the most modern, updated, newest technology for very minimal difference, okay? Because like right now, I mean, I can get you Paradigm irons they're on sale right now. Last year's Paradigm irons, 2023 Paradigm irons are on sale. You trade in last year's clubs, there might be a $200 or $300 difference between the clubs, for a whole set. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, so if you keep it updated, the trade-in value every year is much higher. But the answer is this. For drivers, it's every 2 to 3 generations. You want to look at something new. Okay. The technology changes really fast in drivers. That's where companies make their money. Okay. That's number one. For wedges, it's when the grooves wear out in the wedges. That's when you want to start getting some new wedges in. The grooves start getting a little bit worn down. You got to get new wedges. Hybrids and irons, they'll say 3 to 4 generations. I'm looking 3 max for the technology really changes. Guys, with the AI technology that Callaway is doing now, there's major changes in their equipment every year and try to make it better and easier for you guys to hit. And guys, they're not making major changes for the great players out there. I mean, it's hard to make great changes in clubs that these players are really used to and the great players. They're making major changes to help the average typical player play better golf, because that's where they sell 99% of their clubs, is the guy who can't break 100, or a guy who's trying to break 90 for the first time, or a guy's trying to break 80 for the first time. That's where they're selling 99% of their clubs. So that AI technology Callaway's doing is helping you get the ball up easier. It's helping you hit longer with the club it's built. It's being more forgiving. That's what it's all about, okay? And it really is a big deal. That AI technology started about 4 or 5 years ago is dramatically changing equipment every year. So, but you can always email me, timg@graysgolf.com. We'll talk about what's in your bag and should you update it or not. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. All right. Let's go to the next question. What wedges do you typically carry in the bag? John P. Well, wedges, I mean, the wedges you want to carry in the bag, first things first is you want to carry at least a 4, possibly a 5 wedge system, okay? I'm going to pull these out real quick right here. Okay. So you want to carry your pitching wedge, your gap wedge, okay? And usually a pitching wedge on older clubs is about 44 degrees. Now it's about 40 to 41 degrees. Like I said, they've gotten stronger and longer, and you hit them higher because they're easier. You'll then carry a gap wedge. So usually like a 48 to 50 degree wedge. And then you'll carry a sand and a lob wedge. So for everybody's bag out there right now, even an older bag typically will have 4 wedges: a pitch, a gap, a sand, and a lob. Now, some newer bags, the Paradigms, the Rogues, some of the newer stuff that's come out, wedges have gotten so strong and they've de-lofted them because the lower center of gravity has gotten so much better that they go higher and longer. They will carry a 5th wedge. You carry a pitching wedge, a wedge, an attack wedge, a gap, a sand, and a lob. Okay. And they fit right across the line there. Okay. So a lot of guys are carrying 5 wedges now. The only thing I want to make mention from that, and I'm maybe skipping ahead if we have another question on this, but is that sand and lob wedge in your bag. The 2 lowest wedges, they are the scoring clubs in your bag. You will hit those more than any of the wedges in your bag. Trust me, you will, especially your lob wedge and your sand wedge. Those clubs, you should be wearing these clubs out. They need to be a forged type head, a soft metal head with steel shafts for weighting. Obviously, the club fits you perfect, okay? That the club fits you perfect. That is the key, okay? So no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those 2 wedges, the sand and the lob, which is typically the 54 degree and the 60, or might be a 56 and a 60, or maybe a 54 and a 58. We can talk to you about what goes in your bag specifically, okay, what you like. But forged type head, steel shaft for weight, forged for the soft feel, maximum spin, obviously fit to you for length, line, and shaft flex. The newest thing on wedges that's occurred in the last year is they have raw faces on the wedges now. And I'm going to explain raw real quick, okay? Raw face on the wedge means that there's no chrome on it. See, this club is chromed on the back, chromed on the neck. Okay, it's nice and shiny, but they didn't put a chrome plating on the face. So chrome that little thin layer of chrome that make it look real pretty, didn't get down in the grooves. So it's just a raw metal, and for most raw metals, they will rust, and that is good. Now, I'm not going to say rust creates more spin. Some people think it does, some people don't. It's debatable. But what does create more spin is not having that chrome plating in the grooves. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Because if I chrome plate this in the front, chrome is going in those grooves. If chrome grows in those grooves, the grooves are thinner, they're smaller, there's less area in there, there's less spin. So you want the maximum spin wedge, and it's what all the good players use. All the good amateurs, all the good professionals use raw wedges. They use them because it creates maximum spin, okay? So that's why you'll see in the last year, and it's all companies started really creating, and we're really putting out these raw face wedges, the non-chrome face wedges, okay? And that's what that's all about. All right, let's go to the next question. Another wedge question. Okay, can you explain the difference of bounce versus grind and wedges? Sure. I'll just grab it. I can use this, okay? This right here. So basically what a bounce is bounce is the angle from the front of the club to the back of the club. And I'm going to show you guys something here. I've got a Sandy Andy here, and I've got a regular wedge here, okay? And if you can see this, if you guys got these at home, you can see it, but it's kind of hard to see on film. But this Sandy Andy, if you look from the front edge of this club to the top, has got 20 degrees of bounce. It is a ton of angle. I'm going to go right there from the front edge to the back of the club. That's 20 degrees of bounce. This wedge right here, which is a Jaws raw wedge right here, this has 8 degrees of bounce, okay? So there's much less bounce on that club from the front to back. But here's the deal. It's not about bounce of the clubs anymore that's important. It's about the grind. And the grind in the club is how the bottom of the club is shaped. And so what that does, and what we recommend at Graves Golf is we recommend a C grind or a Z grind, okay, depending on what type of player you are, a C grind or a Z grind in the wedge. And what that does is it keeps the front edge of the club down when you're hitting those flop shots or those shots that are of tight lies or something trying to hit higher lofted shots. It keeps that front edge of that club down when you start changing ball position. If you have a standard grind, like a W grind, an S grind, or something else on there, when you start moving that ball a little bit forward in your stance, that leading edge of the club will come up. It will lift up. And unless you make a really big divot, it's going to blade the club. And if your ground's really hard, even if you make a divot, it's going to blade the club. It's going to blade it. All good players have a C-type or a Z-type grind on the ball of the club. Guys, think of it as a C grind. 99% of players are going to want to have a C grind on the bottom. So when we fit you for wedges and that sand wedge and that lob wedge, not only are we doing what I talked about earlier, we're also making sure that grind on that wedge is perfect. Bounce has basically become irrelevant compared to grind. It's all about grind now, okay? And you'll see that. When you see and you look on, you can look online, you can look at our website, you can see the guys, like when I talked to Roger Cleveland, when you see that, they immediately go to grind on the wedges. Guys, years and years ago, before you could buy different grind wedges, good players that grind their wedges down themselves in a grinder. I mean, there's a lot of great stories about that, okay? And I spent time with Bob Vokey when I was with Titleist, and this was like in 2000, 2001. He's literally grinding wedges for me to get the right grind on the club. Basically form a C grind on there for me, okay? Well, now we can buy wedges like that, and we can get them for you. But the bounce is not near as important as the grind. And we want to look at a C grind and or a Z grind. Let me help you on that, okay? Email me and we can talk about that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Next question. All right, I have difficulty hitting hybrids. Can you help me with a suggestion and drill that might help? Sure. All right, so let me see if I can find a hybrid here. Do I have I'm gonna have to go off stage. Oh, there's a hybrid. Okay. In fact, I got an Ocho, got an 8 hybrid here. Okay. So basically, the issue on hybrids is, and I'm gonna get the ABT out here, right here. Okay. Okay. So first things first. You use your ABT, alignment ball position trainer. We want the hybrid ball position is in, basically, if you look, the width of this, that where the H is, that's for a long hybrid, like a 3 or 4 hybrid. So our width of our stance for 3 or 4 hybrid is at that H. As we start getting, and the ball position is actually in the front, in the zone. So we want to get just behind driver ball position in this zone, okay, for a longer hybrid. So like a 2, 3, 4 hybrid, we put the ball across from the zone, we get the stance of the width where the H is. Now, as you start getting your 5, 6, 7, even you guys that hit 8 hybrids at home, we start getting shorter. We start lining up where basically the iron ball position is, where the foot is, and then we put the ball basically just at the iron ball position or slightly in front of it. So basically, for your zone, you'd have a 3 or 4 hybrid here. You go to like a 5 hybrid, a 6 hybrid. When you start getting your 6, 7, 8 hybrids, you're basically at iron ball position. That's because it's a shorter club. And our stance of our width gets shorter, okay? You guys, you can look online and get a little bit more information about that. But I want to give you guys a drill that can help you with hybrids, okay? And because the biggest thing in hybrids right now is we don't hit, people do not hit down well on hybrids when they hit a hybrid, okay? If you cast or flip, the club is going up in the air, so it's going on the upswing, and because there's not as much weight in the bottom of this club as there is some irons, okay, people have difficulty hitting hybrids, okay? So what we got to do, what we're going to do is, I want you guys, when you go outside, you're going to do this, okay? I'm looking in here for something small, and I'm going to kind of make this up for you guys. But I'm going to do this right here. I'll take this, because this is a little bit better, bigger of a tee, but okay. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to take a tee, and you're going to go out on the range, okay? And you're going to take that tee, and you're just going to stick it in the ground, okay? And you're going to have just a little bit above the tee above the ground. No golf ball yet. And you're going to sit, and you're just going to hit the tee out of the ground. You're going to hit, and you're going to do it again. You hit the tee on the ground. In fact, a lot of people will do this, and they'll take 5, 6, maybe 10 tees in a row. So, and I would do it with your ABT. So whatever hybrids you're hitting, you get in a good position. So this tee right now, that tee's maybe a 1/4 inch out of the ground. Some of you guys may go like a 1/2 inch. Hopefully you guys don't have to go a 1/4 inch. You put it in the ground and you bang the tee out of the ground. Okay. So that's what you're going to do. I'm going to go get this again. Okay. So you're going to bang that tee out of the ground. Now, what you're going to do is you're progressively going to put that tee lower and lower and lower in the ground until basically it's level with the ground. And now you're going to bang that tee out of the ground with the level in the ground, okay? So now you're training the body to hit down with that hybrid, okay? So you're training that body to hit down with that hybrid. So you're now taking that tee and you're putting it level to the ground and you're banging it out of the ground. No golf balls yet. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this golf ball. You're going to set it on the ground, okay, on top of that tee. So you're taking that tee, you've driven it into the ground, okay? Now you're going to set that golf ball on top of that tee, and your entire focus is to set up on that and to bang the tee out of the ground again, okay? So you're trying to bust that tee out of the ground, bust it out of the ground. Now, a lot of you, I promise you, at first, will set up over that, and you'll get that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing going again, and you'll get up over that, and you'll start casting again, and you realize, man, I can't believe how much I'm casting. I can't even touch that tee. I'm picking when I put the golf ball down. So first things first, tee's out of the ground. You bang the tee. Then you put the tee into the ground. You bust the tee. Now we put a golf ball on top of that tee into the ground. We still try to break that tee. You're trying to train the body to hit down. Then the last step on this is you take the tee, you put it into the ground just in front of the golf ball. Now, I know this is a bad reference here because I'm inside, but think right now if that tee was driven into the ground just in front of the golf ball. So it's like the ball fell off the tee. Okay? Now, sit up over that, sit up over your hybrid, hit it, and try to break the tee out of the ground. Because now what you're doing is driving the hybrid through the ball, starting the divot ahead of the ball like you should, and driving the tee out of the ground. It's a great drill. Trust me, it's a great drill. Guys, it's a drill you can do in your backyard. Do this, I know you're taking some divots, okay? Find a spot in your yard you don't care about as much, or you can do it on the drive range, obviously. Do it with some wiffle balls, but bust the tee out of the ground, bust it out of the ground, put the ball on top of it, bust the tee out of the ground with the ball on top of it. Then put the tee ahead of the golf ball, driven in the ground, put the golf ball just behind, try to drive the tee out of the ground, bust it, hitting the golf ball again. Great drill for hybrids. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. When do you recommend changing from a regular flex to a senior flex? Age, ... from Sean. Good question, Sean. Basically, it's really not about age. It's not even about gender, okay? It's not. It's how fast you swing a golf club. Now, most of you guys don't have swing speed meters at home. Some of you do, some of you don't. Most of you probably don't. But basically, it's this. It's right now, and I'll tell you something, this is pretty simple. To be in a regular flex club, you need to hit your 6-iron at least 150 yards and your 9-iron at least 120 yards. So let's say right now you give me an email and you're hitting your 6-iron 160 yards, and you're hitting your 9-iron 125 yards. I've got you in a mid-regular flex shaft. We've got to throw up your clubs. We're setting up your bag for that and so on, okay? Now, a year from now, you call me up and you say, I was hitting a 160 and now I'm down to hitting a 150 and I'm hitting a 120 with, 150 with my 6-iron and 120 with my 9-iron. Okay, that's great. You're still really in a regular flex. We could soften it up a little bit, but you're probably okay. Okay? Now let's say you call me 2 or 3 years from now, or you email me and say, Tim, man, I'm lucky if I hit my 6-iron 140 and my 9-iron's maybe 110 now. Now you're in a light flex club. Okay? You're in a light flex shaft. Okay? Because you've lost that speed, which has not allowed you to hit it as far, which now we need to get more flex in the shaft to help you get distance with the slower swing speed. Guys, it doesn't change your swing. It doesn't change the path. Everything stays the same. A more flexible club, what it does is it kicks into the ball a little bit more. When it kicks into the ball, it will launch it higher, the more flex. And that launch it higher, the ease of launching it higher will let you hit it further. Height allows you to hit the ball with good distance. If you hit the ball too low because the shaft is too stiff, you will lose significant distance, okay? So don't be alarmed if you go from a stiff to a regular. In fact, guys, I'm now in my mid-50s. And it's the biggest thing we deal with. I go get club fit. I do my own fitting every year. I go work with professionals that fit their clubs for them. We talk about this all the time, okay? And here's what's interesting. This past year, I had 3 or 4 friends of mine that were always in stiff flex shafts, and they came in and got fit, and we put them in regular flex shafts. And we talked to them. We went through the fittings. We even did all kinds of different additional stuff with them. And all of a sudden, they're in regular flex shaft, and they're hitting it further. And it's freaking them out because they've been in stiff or extra stiff their whole life. Well, guess what? They're getting older. But now they can hit that height with ease, okay? And eventually they'll be in light flex or senior flex. I mean, if they continue to play, that's just the way it is. Sorry, but it's just life. So it's not about an age issue. It's about a swing speed issue. So if you can maintain your flexibility, you can maintain your strength, which is hard to do, but if you can, you can maintain the flex. If we start losing flexibility, we start losing strength, we need to get more flexible to make it easier to hit. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all, okay? Guys, the breakdown from regular to senior is basically 150 yards with a 6-iron, 150 and above, but regular, it's regular. As we get in 170s, we're getting into stiff. Below 150, 140s, 130s is starting to get senior and lower, or ladies. 9-irons is right at about 120, 125, and we can talk to you guys individually. But you want to talk to me individually about that, it's timg@graysgolf.com, timg@graysgolf.com. Remember, we can determine swing speed by how far you hit certain clubs. And that swing speed can let us determine exactly what shaft you need to optimize your game. All right, let's go to the next question. All right. I have difficulty with cross-handed putter grip. Is there another grip you recommend? Yeah. And in fact, this one I can go on the lock and roll or the regular putter. Remember, and Ellen, it's a good question, Ellen. Here's the deal. The biggest thing on a putter grip is that it's different than your full swing grip. Okay? That's it. That's the biggest thing. We recommend that because let's say you take in full swing grip. I'm going to grab a club here. So I've got my club right here, and I got an overlapping grip in my full club. I make impact, and I release the club. So right now the club's fully released, club head's turned over, knees flexed. I'm fully released in that position. Okay, the club's released. So this grip I have in the club right now, this overlapping grip. Some of you guys may have a 10-finger grip. Some of you guys may have an overlapping, and maybe even a few of you with interlocking. Obviously, our number one recommendation is overlap grip. Okay, get the hands working together. But that grip right now in this club, every time I hit it, that club will and should release. This club is built to release. This grip is aiding me on release. So my body is saying that grip allows me to release the club. I love that feel. It releases, it releases, it releases. I love it. Okay. Well, here's the deal. With the putter, we don't release the putter. We never do. So if I took a full swing on a putter and I go to this position, that club's not released. It doesn't roll over like a full swing. It's not supposed to. It's not built to do that. Okay? It is not built to do that. In fact, watch, I'll hold up this putter. It's square. It sits square to the ground. Okay? Just like this lock and roll. I hold it up. I balance it. The face is square to the ground. Okay? When I hold up a normal club and I balance it, watch what happens. The toe goes straight down. That club is built to roll over, okay? That club is built to release. Every club in your bag, your drivers, your hybrids, your fairway woods, they're all built to release. Your irons, all built to release. Your putters are not. So we've got to hold these clubs different. So we're building a release grip and a non-release grip. Now, obviously, you've heard me promote lead hand low or cross-handed again and again and again because it helps get your shoulders square. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can go trail hand low, but don't use the same grip you have on your full swing. So maybe you're overlapping with the full swing. Maybe you reverse overlap with the putter grip. Maybe you go 10-finger with the putter grip. Maybe you separate with the putter grip, okay? It's your choice. Maybe you have one finger down the shaft with the putter grip, okay? You can choose something different. Just make sure it is a different grip than your full swing grip. And, I always put the plug in there every time, but guys, that's why I went to the lock and roll putter. Because number one, the grip's completely different. It's bigger. It feels completely different than a regular grip. Okay, but here's number two. It's got a flat side towards the target, which, by the way, you can't do in your full swing. You can't put a flat side in your full swing grip because it's illegal. Okay, but the putter, it's legal. Here's the next thing. When you lock it into your arm and it stays locked, I am hindering release. I can't release now. That's perfect. I can go up to release and through impact, but that's where I want to be. So it's perfect with this club. That's why we do the lock and roll, because it actually keeps that putter face square even longer, okay? So, and guys, you can use right hand low, trail hand low on the lock and roll, lead hand low on the lock and roll. You can separate the hands in the lock and roll, okay? As long as it's locked in the lead arm, we're great. But remember, the biggest key on that is that the putter, the grip, the hold of a putter is different than your full swing grip. That's the key. Got the next question? All right. Jack M., what's the best way to gain distance over the winter? Okay. It's kind of a loaded question. I'm Jack. Here's the deal, Jack. Number one is, and I'm going to say this straight out so I don't get bashed when this webinar is over, because I know I always do. As we're getting older, if we just maintain distance, it is awesome, okay? The slower, in fact, Chris Henning right now. Chris is helping, is a new guy we hired a few months ago. And Chris, you guys all know Chris. He's about 6'4". He's got like a 30-some inch waist. He's in great shape. And we hired him. He's a marketing guy, really helps us. But more importantly, he's our fitness and flexibility guy. In fact, he's multiple trained and certified in fitness and flexibility. And he's actually doing our Fast Forward training program. Now, this right, you only, guys, so far, you've only seen anybody who's the Fast Forward training program. You've only seen one issue. Todd said that on a video Monday, all about full swing work to do over the winter. Okay. It was training drills to do over the winter, full swing work. What the Fast Forward training program is basically one video a week, long game, short game, fitness and flexibility, mental game for 4 months. Okay. Is this training through the winter. But the reason I kind of step back when Chris, I watched him film and he was talking to the guys at the tournament and watched him filming for this. And he talked about this. He said, here's what it comes down to. The way you gain distance over the winter is you increase flexibility. Okay. There's no question about, no doubt about it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it is we increase. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys right now, we're going to sit there and become, from a guy who had no flexibility to a guy with 100% flexibility. No, most of us won't. In fact, I won't either. But let's say right now, you're following Chris's program and you go through a series of a couple tests and all of a sudden you realize I'm 20% flexible and I'm trying to, do my wrist flexibility. I'm 20% flexible. Well, if you get 30 or 40% flexible or even 21% flexible, you will get more flexibility, which will then allow you to hit the positions in the swing better, which will then allow you to what? Gain distance over the winter. Okay? I promise you right now, the number one way to improve distance over the winter, number one, is improved flexibility. Then followed by number two, improved technique. Okay? Followed by number three, improved equipment. So if you've got the best equipment, the longest equipment out there, you've got that done. Okay? Because guys, a driver today is longer than a driver 3 years ago. I promise you it is. In fact, I can show you 1,000 tests on it, okay? And they're more forgiving. So you hit towards the toe and the heel, you can hit it longer, okay? Just the way it is. So get the best equipment out there. That's number one. Number two, work on your techniques. You're hitting that sweet spot more and more and more, and the ball's not curving off. It's going straighter. Guys, it's amazing. I'll watch a guy slice the ball 20 yards or 30 yards into the trees. If I just straightened that out, he'd have hit the driver 30 yards further than he did. Okay, because the distance was at an angle, not going straight. Okay, so improved technique, improved equipment, but the biggest thing to do over the winter, improved flexibility. Notice I didn't say strength. Flexibility. Now, if you want to put a little strength on there, that's fine. I mean, I like to do a little bit of strength stuff too, but here's the deal. Don't go get strong and lose flexibility. That will not do you a thing. Improve flexibility. Get on a flexibility program. If you aren't in our Fast Forward training program, you can always email me. We may have a spot or two open for you. Okay. I can talk to you about it. And if you don't want to do that, go to on-demand website, Fitness and Flexibility DVD. Start with that. Covers the areas of the body that relate directly to the single plane swing. From the knees to the hips, the shoulders, the arms, to the wrists, covers the entire body and gives you tests on how flexible you need to be in that area. If you're not flexible enough, which most of us aren't, it gives you 2 or 3 drills or exercises to do. They're very simple. They're not going to hurt you. They're very easy drills or exercises you can do that will help you gain flexibility. I mean, wrist flexibility is huge. Huge to create that leverage, okay? So gaining distance, I'm going to throw that right out and I'm going to talk flexibility. Let's go to the next question. All right. Can you explain how putting is related to the full swing? Matt, yeah. Well, I'm going to throw it out straight out. 2 birds with 1 stone. 2 birds with 1 stone. Go to that. Go to On Demand. It's probably one of the 2 or 3. It is one of the 2 or 3 most important DVDs you can watch. If you guys haven't watched it in a while, go watch it again. If you watched it last week, go watch it again. Okay? It directly relates. So putting is related to chipping, which is related to pitching, which is related to the full swing. Putting is related to the full swing. I'll give you 3 of them. I'll give you a couple of them right now. In fact, I just shot the first week of the putting on the Fast Forward training program. Just filmed it, which is going to be out next Monday. And it talks just about this. It gives you drills on how to do that. So all the guys in the Fast Forward training program, watch for these drills, because I'm not going to give you the drills now, but I'll show you how they're related. So basically, when you step over a putt and we hit a good putt and we hit it down the line, our hands are leading. So they're going down the line, just like in a full swing. Our hands are leading. Our hands are down the line, just like a full swing. And you maintain shaft lean through impact, just like a full swing. So hands leading, hands down the line. We call it the hip check, the 3 H's. Hands leading, hands down the line, hip check. Now, obviously in a putt, you're not moving anything in the body but your shoulders, but your hands are going down the line, okay? So if I sit up here and gave you a down the line view here, your hands are going down the line. Here's the problem. Most people, when they have a traditional conventional putter and they step over a putt, instead of hands leading, hands down the line, which that's a really good putt there, they'll do this. They'll flip and cast the putter. It'll give you a face-on view. So instead of doing a good job of hands leading, hands down the line, okay, with keep maintaining shaft lean in the club, they'll sit here and they'll flip the putter. And when they, just like I talked earlier, when they flip the putter, they've closed up the face, they've pulled the face, they've cast the club. So if you look at a full swing right now, let's take this club as a full swing. So I set up like I'm taking a full swing. I go to impact. Look at my position right now at impact. My hands are leading. My hands are down the line. I maintain shaft lean. In fact, even through impact, I'm maintaining that position. Well, here's the problem. If I flip that putter, and I do that every time I putt, I've trained my body to do this at impact with the full swing. Okay, and here's the problem, so I'll do it. And you don't even have to send a video to my coach. Just do it at home. Put a video in front of you. Set up a video in front of you. Take your iPhone out, set it somewhere, hit record. Get over your putter. Set up over a few putts. Get up over it, take a few putts, okay? If you're doing this in your putter, if you're taking this and you're flipping your putter, okay? And you try to stop. Try to get your hands on the line. Hands lean, hands on the line, keeping that shaft lean. Try to do that. But if you're flipping that putter, I promise you, now, take that same video, film your full swing, and stop it at impact. You'll be just like that. You'll have flip and cast the club. And then what you'll tell me is, I'm losing distance. I pull or slice the golf ball. I can't hit the driver as far as I should. I have no consistency. I make no divot. Think about it. To play great golf, we need to make some type of divot. Okay? We need to make some type of divot, which is really a funny story, because you don't know how many times I sit there and people send me an email and says, well, Mo said he didn't take a divot. Mo said he bruised the grass. In this last week, we had our single plane showdown. I told you guys about this in Vegas. And one of the nights during dinner, we played all these Mo clips on. It was amazing. It was this Mo entourage. It was like this Mo, it was crazy. It was like, I think probably a half hour's worth of Mo video on there, okay? It had Mo doing demos, doing clinics, talking. It had, talked about the documentary that we're doing on Mo, all kinds of stuff on there. But it was really cool. Even some footage people had never seen of Mo. And here's the deal. And all those that were there know this. Mo's hitting iron, divot, 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 divot. I mean, just like iron, divot, 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 divot. I mean, we probably saw him hit 200 iron shots in these videos. It was divot upon divot upon divot. In fact, in one of the videos, he took a fairway wood, okay, and he took a ball and he threw it down in a divot and he hit a fairway wood out of the divot. Well, how would you get a ball out of a divot with a fairway wood if you're not making more of a divot? Okay, so guys, if you're not making a divot with your irons, you're not making a divot with your wedges, you're not making a divot with your hybrids and your fairway woods, you're casting the club. And that's a lot of issues, a lot of inconsistency issues you're going to be dealing with. And the start of that is get those hands leading, hands down the line, and keep that shaft leading that putter. That starts you getting that training. 2 birds with 1 stone. Couple hours worth of instruction. Go study it. That's where to start. All right. Next question. Can you explain position 1 in the backswing? Is there a drill that can help you feel that position? Tom, yeah. Position 1. I'm not going to set up position 1 because I'm not going to take the time. I'm going to set it up. Guys, go online, look at the training. This is the single plane position trainer, okay? And if you go to the single plane position trainer and go to the training of this, you'll see that. But this is the ultimate train, obviously, for position 1. No doubt about it, okay? So, now, when I sit up I'm at position 0 now, okay? I go to position 1. When I go to position 1 and I look down, that is a movement of the hips and shoulders to get to position 1, okay? It is not a breakdown of the wrist. It's not an arm independence. It is a hips and shoulders with a slight fold, a relaxation of the trail arm. That's how we get to position 1, okay? Now, you take the single plane position trainer and you do it right. There's a piece of black tape on there right below the grip. There's a black mark. It's a piece. It looks like black tape. It's a little paint on there, okay? It's right there. You can see it right there on the screen. There's the black right there. There it is. Okay. When you sit up in position 0, you will see no white on the left-hand side or the lead side of that tape. It should be 0, none. Okay. Now, you go to position 1, you will not see white on the lead side of that. It'll still be white on the right and black. If you see white on the left-hand side of that, you're in an improper position. That means you either went arms only, you didn't move the hips properly, you didn't move the shoulders properly, because what most guys do and what gals do when they start is they go to position 1, it breaks away from the body, you can see the white in that side, and now they've got arm independence, which is a problem, okay? The hips and shoulders start to position 1. And this is great winter training, folks. Set up your position 0, 1 like you're supposed to, okay? Set it up. Look at our training online. Now, go to position 1. Get those hips and shoulders moving properly. And obviously we can go now to position 2 properly and so on. But when you go to position 1, it is a movement of the hips and shoulders, okay, getting you to position 1. From position 1 to 2, now we start cocking and hinging the wrists and the arms move to get up to position 2. But position 1 is critical because what most people do, and this last thing I'm going to say on this is touching my pivot point, which is on my lead side. When I go to position 1, it is touching that same spot. Listen to what I just said. It is touching that same spot. It did not slide across the belly. Okay? And even guys that think they moved their hips and shoulders properly, this will slide across the belly, and they got their arms ahead of their hips and shoulders, which means you're going to come across the shot. From position 0 to position 1, it stays touching that same spot in the pivot point every single time. That's what you need to focus on, okay? That's the proper position 1. I think we have time for maybe another question or two, just a little bit more time, okay? Okay, we got one more. Okay, then we get the giveaways tonight too? Yeah, we do. Okay, all right. So we still got giveaways, so don't lose faith in me. Okay. So can you explain the reason for the angle of the lead foot in the golf swing? Jim B. Yeah, sure, Jim. Okay. So I'm gonna set up the ABT here. I've got a 7-iron. Okay. So I'm gonna set up over this. I'm just gonna get in a good position here. Make sure you guys can see this on film. Okay, good there. Okay. Get my 7-iron position. So I got my 7-iron width, got my 7-iron distance. This club is my club, so it fits me perfect. Okay. So we set up perfect on that. There's 7-iron. We set up, boom, club right behind the ball. Okay. So we're setting a good position. Now, here's what we got to do with the lead foot. Notice my trail foot is relatively square. Now, if you tend to walk a little bit pigeon-toed, it may be turned in a little bit. If you tend to walk, we call it walk kind of like with your feet out, you may be turned out a little bit, but it's a very strength angle of your trail foot. It's basically square in a very strong position because you're going to be pushing off that foot, and that's a lot of power off of that side. Okay. The lead foot, okay, the left foot for righties, the right foot for lefties, the lead foot is turned out 10 degrees. Now, I say at least 10 degrees. I don't want you to go much more than that. We could possibly go 15 or 20. That's a little bit too much. I want it about 10 degrees. The reason it's turned out at an angle is because when you flex into that lead knee in the downswing, that angle allows you to flex your toe towards your knee towards that lead toe. Listen to what I'm just saying here. So that lead toe needs to be flexed 10 degrees, between 10 to 15 degrees. I like 10. Some guys go a little bit more to protect the knee and protect the lead side. That's fine. Don't go too much where it turns your shoulders and hips out. And obviously don't go too little. We want it flexed about 10 degrees. And the reason we want to flex 10 degrees is because that's what allows you to flex your lead knee and your trail knee, but in particular, lead knee towards that toe through impact, okay? That's what gives you that good position. And here's what you can do. Here's a great drill. Now, I don't suggest hitting golf balls doing this because you're going to put stress on your knee, but you can do this inside, you can do it outside. Take your lead foot and put it square. Or if you want to be that guy, turn it in a little bit. Just do it. This is a test, okay? Keep it square, turn it in. Now, try to keep your knee flexed through impact with that foot like that. You're going to find out real quick, number one, now I'm not saying swing hard. Do not swing hard when you do this. Swing easy, swing soft. You're going to feel stress on the knee. You're going to feel stress on the back. In fact, when I did that, the first one, I felt my back felt a little bit tight. And that didn't hurt, but it felt tight, okay? Because immediately stress went to the back. Now, take that foot and turn it out. Turn it out to the proper 10 degrees, or maybe just a little bit more, but 10 degrees is good. Now sit up and flex the knee towards that toe. And you're going to feel the stress now goes into this part of the body. That turning the lead toe out is what allows the lead thigh, the lead knee, the lead leg to work properly during the golf swing to allow the knee to stay flexed through impact, which allows you to get the shoulders square with a perfect and good on-plane swing, okay? So long story made short, that lead toe needs to be turned out about 10 degrees, maybe a little bit further for some that have a bad knee or bad hip, okay? But 10 to 15 degrees max. But it's got to be there. The reason why is that's what allows us to flex that lead knee towards the toe through impact, which allows us to keep that club on plane and through the swing, okay? Experiment a little bit. Feel that. It's critical to do that, okay? Are we good? Mm-hmm. All right. What's that?
Giveaway time.
Giveaway time. Giveaway time. All right. I think we had 2 giveaways tonight, but before we get into that, guys, remember, steps questionnaire. I cannot stress enough. If you haven't done one in a while, guys, your steps change. You may have been at step 2 and you'd be at step 4 now or step 5. I mean, they change. Fill out that steps questionnaire. Okay, you can look at the link below. You can get that link, or you can go onto our website. If you go on the homepage of our website, gravesgolf.com, the homepage, and you go to the middle of the website, it says take the steps questionnaire. Hit that link, hit that tab, go into it. There'll be a video on the top. There's another little, I think, a little charts in the middle, the steps chart, and then the questionnaire is right below it. Fill it out. So it doesn't cost you anything. Fill it out. A coach will respond to you. And you guys, if you want to set up a meeting with a coach and talk to a coach about your next steps, you can. If not, you'll just get an email back saying you're on step 2. I recommend you do this for step 3. Or you're on step 4. I recommend you do this for step 5. Or whatever. You're going to get an email back responding to you what you should do next. And then if you want to talk to a coach, you can set up an appointment. It's up to you. It doesn't cost you anything. Strongly suggest you do that, okay? No matter what level you're at. Brand new or in this for 20 years. Let's take it. And then we can help you speed it up big time. Because guys, that's what my coach is all about. They want you to speed it up big time, okay? And remember, those testimonials you start seeing now, and you're going to see a whole bunch of them coming out. Those testimonials you see, these people are actively involved in the single plane swing, trying to get that next step, trying to take the next step, trying to take the next step. How am I going to get better? And guys, it's not next steps like going from a 75 to a 70 or or 90 to an 85. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, what type of training you need to do next. What type of videos you should look at next. What type, what should you go? It's things like that. What you should do and focus on for your game to get you better. That's what it's all about, okay? So go fill it out. The other thing, don't forget about the schools. If it's up to James, they're going to be full by the end of this month. So please don't call us at the middle of the end of January and say, I wish I'd have gotten into school. Just trust me. He's doing everything possible to fill these things up quick. Paradigm. Paradigm is going to sell out fast. Yes, the new equipment will be released. It will come up. It will be out at the end of January, so I'll be advertising new equipment at the end of January. It'll be the longest, latest, greatest. Trust me, it will be, because they're going to make the next year stuff better than this year. But Paradigm's the top club out there right now, and it's up to $200 off some of the clubs. I mean, I can get you good deals. I mean, if you bought a whole set, I can probably save you. I know I can save $500 to $600 in a whole set. And in fact, more than that. And you guys, in the trade-in special is still for it. We can still give you additional bonuses on your trade-in clubs. Okay, so. Let me take care of you. Tim G at gravesgolf.com. Any questions you have, anything you need, Tim G at gravesgolf.com. I'll either help you out or I'll get you the right person that can. Okay? So the giveaways for tonight. First one, the Lock and Roll Putter giveaway. Fran Harvey from Colorado. So Fran, congratulations, you got a Lock and Roll putter. If you already have one, I'm not sure if you have it or not, we can get you another piece of equipment that's comparable, okay? There's really nothing comparable to Lock and Roll putter, but if you already got a putter, we can get you, maybe I can get you a driver or something, okay? So Fran Harvey, we'll get you Lock and Roll putter during our next wave, okay? And then FXY, guys, the third wave is going out in the Lock and Roll putters. They should, sometime in December, we're hoping to have the third wave in. So anybody that hasn't got the putters yet, that third wave is going out in December, and we're selling through those very, very fast. So don't miss out on that if you're interested in that, okay? But Fran, you'll be part of that wave. All right. And the last thing is a 3-day Premier School giveaway. And that is to Michael Morgan from Texas. So Michael Morgan from Texas, congratulations. And Michael, your choice of 3-day school. That never ends, never runs out, and we'll get you information on that. So guys, great. So guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I want to thank you guys for being part of Single Plane Swing and part of the Single Plane, the movement we have across the country. Go look at that article. Go on our Facebook page, or you can email me and I'll get you a copy of that. Go look at the article they just did at our new academy. It's pretty cool. We're pretty proud of it. We're going to be very proud of that academy. Trust me, it's a big, big, big deal. So anyways, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. Well, guys, we'll see you real soon.